A week tomorrow, it is budget day, and Liam Halligan, our economics editor, and I have been railing. I think that's
unlike you.
It's a reasonable description. Railing against this proposed increase in corporation tax. It's going up by 30%. It is the most incredible signal for a country that's just broken free of the European Union, that wants to become pro-business. The most incredible signal. As ever, of course, it's the little guys and girls that really get hurt by this, and yet something very interesting, Liam, has happened over the last couple of weeks. We're beginning to get bigger business voices objecting.
We are. We had BT, the old British Telecom, telling the government straight, we really don't think you should be raising corporation tax by 6 percentage points from 19 to 25%. The first rise in corporation tax in the UK, if it happens, in 51 years, Nigel. Even the CBI, that most herbivorous of lobby groups, they don't want to ruin the chances of the knighthood, old boy. And even they are saying publicly, we really don't think you should do this. And yet the Treasury's wedded to its orthodoxy. Yeah. It thinks it needs to raise corporation tax to convince financial markets that it can plug a hole in the fiscal accounts of this country. I don't think anyone trading gilts in the City of London thinks that raising corporation tax will raise more money. Certainly everyone I know in the markets thinks that raising corporation tax will cost the exchequer money because of the impact on investment and therefore
look at
growth.
AstraZeneca.
Indeed.
AstraZeneca about to put £330 million into a plant in Cheshire. They're off to the Republic of Ireland. And remind us what the corporation tax in the Republic of Ireland is.
I think you'll find it's half of what we're about to be.
Exactly
12.5%.
Yeah.
12.5%. How do you feel about Northern Ireland? Just over the border, the corporation tax rate will be half of what it is in Northern Ireland and indeed across the UK. Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor, when he campaigned to be Conservative leader and indeed Prime Minister, just last summer, he didn't get many votes, but he did say that corporation tax should be 15%. His previous failed Tory leadership bid, he said corporation tax should be 12.5%. And yet now you have the Chancellor saying we must raise it to 25%. It's actually law. Rishi Sunak announced that this would happen this time last year. It's set to go up in April. And as you say, the really big companies, they can offset, they can move money between various jurisdictions. If you're running, a plumbing business with 50 people, this is going to take 6% off your margin. Many, many companies will fold, unfortunately, with this huge rise in corporation tax. Companies that the states just spent billions of pounds keeping alive during lockdown. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and with voices like Sir James Dyson, one of the most respected business figures,
one of the world's leading inventors,
saying this is a huge mistake. Yeah. Do you think they might change their mind?
I'm certainly detecting signs that they are thinking about it. It's not. I've been writing about this literally since Christmas, pretty much every week, hammering away in my
railing.
Well, I hammer away. I'll leave the railing to you, Nigel. In my Sunday Telegraph column, saying this just makes no sense whatsoever. Academics now, the National Institute, the most august think tank in the land, almost a sort of annex of the Treasury, that even they are saying there'll be a big impact on investment if we raise corporation tax. They don't want to raise it because then they have to admit that Liz Truss was right. That's partly what's going on.
Yeah,
that's partly what's going on.
They wouldn't want that. Well, we will be, that evening, 15th of March, the budget, Liam and I will be with a live audience, a business audience in Doncaster.
Yorkshire's finest.
And let's hope we have some good news. On top of that, we've, of course, got these additional levy taxes that have been put on gas and oil. And already in the North Sea, we're seeing disastrous consequences, aren't we?
Well, for a long time, oil companies and gas companies exploring in the North Sea have paid additional corporation tax and then a supplementary levy. With the windfall tax that Rishi Sunak introduced last spring, they're now paying 75% on their profits. And again, it's not the big guys that are exploring in the North Sea. It's much, much smaller companies that don't operate internationally. And to put huge levies on their profits means they'll just pack up their bags and go home. That's what's happening.
Yeah, and Harbour Energy already have said, look, we can't live with this.
Harbour Energy is a major kind of medium-sized player in the North Sea. This is part of a broader trend, Nigel. We're losing business because of our tax environment now. We've just seen the mighty Japanese SoftBank, the new owners of ARM, that incredible microchip manufacturer in Cambridge, born and bred in Cambridge, a massive Silicon Fen success story, cutting-edge technology. SoftBank, despite Rishi Sunak personally lobbying them, they're about to list in New York. We don't begrudge our American friends and cousins, of course, but that company of all companies should be listing in London. London now is raising like 1 or 2% of the world's new equity finance. 10 years ago, it was 20%.
So the stock market is becoming a less attractive place for people to list. Energy companies are saying they can't live because you pay 75% tax on profits, but if you lose money, well, that's just tough.
That's right.
And you lose money. And there are going to be millions of small businesses with a 30% rise in tax next week. I mean, here we are in Brexit Britain, which was supposed to be about giving people, a bit more of an even break. Do you see any prospects of this Conservative Party once again being about entrepreneurship?
Well, the UK is nothing if it's not an entrepreneurial, dynamic, relatively low tax environment. That's what we specialise in, and we have for generations and generations. But there is now a sort of growing consensus among the sort of Davos man, among people in the Treasury, and even in the House of Commons and at the top of the Conservative Party, that we have to kind of punish ourselves with high taxes. Already, Nigel, as we go into this budget next week, we have the highest tax burden in this country, tax revenue as a share of national income, since Clement Attlee, since just after the Second World War.
Yeah.
That can't be good for business. And it strikes me that the Conservative Party is going to have to completely reinvent itself. Here's a little scoop. At the weekend, I went to see a guy called Nigel Lawson, and I'll be playing his interview with me on my Planet Normal podcast for The Telegraph on Thursday. And Nigel Lawson says he doesn't think Rishi Sunak is going to make his name as a tax cutter, and the Conservative Party now has to completely reinvent itself.
Liam Halligan, thank you. Strong words. Yes, the Conservative Party must reinvent itself on tax, on immigration. Oh, it's a list as long as your arm.